Part 28.9, Surah Al-Qasas, The Stories Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. We engage today in a deep and profound analysis of the chapter 28 verse 41 to 45 of Surah Al-Qasas, The Stories. This sequence is characterized by a dramatic shift in perspective, moving decisively from the spectacle of Pharaoh's physical downfall to a necessary and profound theological reflection on the enduring purpose and absolute authenticity of divine revelation. The verses serve three critical and interconnected functions. They pronounce the final, absolute judgment upon Pharaoh and his armies. They establish the continuity of the prophetic mission with the delivery of the Torah to Prophet Musa, peace be upon him. And most significantly, they deploy the very detail of the narrative as an irrefutable proof of the divine source of the Qur'an itself. Allah uses the vividly detailed narratives of the past to reinforce the immutable truth of the present message. The Qur'an's precise description of events, witnessed only by Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, and of places and times profoundly distant from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is deployed as the ultimate luminous evidence that the Qur'an is not a work of human historical research, compilation, or clever deduction. It is an immediate, precise, and authoritative transmission of the ilm knowledge of the all-knowing Lord Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, transcending all temporal and geographical constraints. This intellectual pivot requires us to elevate our contemplation from the level of historical storytelling to the deepest epistemological questions of faith and the origin of sacred knowledge. The leaders who invite to the fire, Kanzel Iman Quran, Surah Al-Qasas, The Stories. Chapter 28, verse 41. And we made them leaders who invite towards the fire. On the day of resurrection they shall not be helped. Following the swift, devastating annihilation of Pharaoh and his armies in the Nile, Allah provides the definitive, eternal, and moral designation for their status. The verse describes them in a chilling and profound inversion of the prophetic role. And we made them leaders who invite towards the fire. The Arabic word for leaders, kema, is the same term used for the messengers who guide towards paradise. Pharaoh and his court, by virtue of their deliberate actions, their entrenched denial of truth, and their institutionalization of systematic oppression, were consecrated as spiritual counter-leaders. Their entire existence, their policies, their propaganda, and their hierarchical influence became a constant, systematic invitation to the fire for themselves and for the masses they commanded and misled. This is a powerful, uncompromising theological statement about the moral and spiritual accountability of all leadership. A leader's influence is so pervasive and profound that if it is consciously used to enforce falsehood, tyranny, and denial of the Creator, that leader assumes the ultimate role of a spiritual Pied Piper, leading millions toward ultimate destruction. Pharaoh did not merely commit private sins. He established a devastating system, sunnah, of wrongdoing that others were coerced and taught to follow. This verse teaches the uncompromising truth that leadership is never morally neutral. It is either a profound invitation to guidance and mercy or a constant, active invitation to the fire. The final sentence absolutely seals their eternal fate and directly refutes the fundamental basis of their earthly arrogance. And on the day of resurrection, they shall not be helped. In this life, Pharaoh and his armies were the epitome of power. Relying on their vast military strength, their political alliances, and their elaborate bureaucratic structure. In the next life, all those supposed helpers, intercessors, and allies will vanish entirely. Their physical might will be utterly worthless, their political capital dissolved, and their human connections severed. They will stand completely alone, deprived of any intermediary or intercessor, facing the perfect, absolute justice of Allah. This statement definitively concludes their narrative trajectory, permanently marking them as an eternal, unambiguous example of the devastating consequences of rejecting the divine message after clear proof has been established. The curse and the humiliation of the haughty Kanzela man. Quran Surah Al-Qasas, The Stories, chapter 28, verse 42. And we made a curse to follow them in this world. On the day of resurrection, they shall be among the despised. The divine judgment extends far beyond their physical annihilation and their ultimate destination in the hereafter. It permanently and indelibly scars their very remembrance and legacy in the world. and we made a curse to follow them in this world. This curse, Lana, is a perpetual active disassociation from the mercy, blessing, and spiritual recognition of Allah. In the temporal world, this curse manifests as a permanent blot on their historical legacy. Pharaoh is not remembered as a brilliant political strategist or a magnificent builder of empire. He is etched into the global consciousness as the archetypal tyrant, the very embodiment of spiritual rebellion and ruthless oppression. His name is permanently synonymous with the rejection of truth, ensuring that his memory, however vast the structures he left behind, is eternally devoid of honor or spiritual grace. This curse serves a vital didactic purpose for all future generations. The pursuit of temporary glory and worldly dominion through tyranny and falsehood only achieves an eternal, inescapable ignominy. The divine judgment is completed with the fate awaiting them in the ultimate reality, and on the day of resurrection, it shall be among the despised. The spiritual contrast is total and terrifying. In life they were worshipped, fiercely feared, and deemed supremely honorable and majestic. In the court of the ultimate judge and in the presence of Allah's divine majesty, they will be utterly despised, mockben, utterly disgraced, and viewed with profound contempt. This immense terminal humiliation is the perfectly just recompense for their spiritual haughtiness, istakbara, in the world, where they systematically looked down upon the messengers and oppressed the humble believers. The spiritual law is confirmed. Extreme, unrepentant arrogance and tyranny in this life is inevitably met with the deepest, most crushing degradation in the next. The two verses, 41 and 42, together serve as the final, absolute theological seal on the fate of Pharaoh and his chiefs, allowing the narrative to move forward to the next, brighter stage of revelation. The enlightenment and guidance of the Torah, Kanzel, Iman. Surah Al-Qasas, the stories. Chapter 28, verse 43. And indeed, after we had destroyed the former generations, we gave Moses the book, in which is enlightenment for mankind, and guidance and mercy, so that they might accept counsel. The destruction of the former generation's Pharaoh's oppressive regime being the most recent, prominent example marks a profound and definitive turning point in prophetic and salvific history. It is only after the physical removal of the dominant forces of disbelief and tyranny that the new, comprehensive, systemic revelation is sent down. We gave Moses the book. This book is the Torah, the first comprehensive, divinely revealed legal and moral code for the newly freed children of Israel, establishing the nation upon a foundation of divine law. The Qur'an emphasizes the multifaceted, ultimate purpose of this revelation, highlighting its spiritual utility, in which is enlightenment for mankind, and guidance and mercy. Enlightenment Tabsira. The book provides insight and clear spiritual vision, effectively dispelling the darkness of ignorance, oppression, and philosophical confusion that had allowed Pharaoh's false, self-serving claims to thrive. It shines a powerful, clarifying light on the purpose and order of existence. Guidance. Hudbit provides the path. It's a necessary, detailed, practical instruction for moral, legal, and social conduct, leading the Israelites out of the moral ambiguity and chaos of slavery into the certainty and structure of divine law. Mercy Ragma. It embodies Allah's compassion. It's offering the practical means to spiritual salvation, social justice, and ultimate peace with the Creator. The ultimate intended effect of this comprehensive gift is that mankind might accept counsel Yadazarkarn, meaning they might profoundly contemplate the lessons of the past, take heed of the divine commands, and undertake the necessary spiritual purification of their souls. This verse establishes the Torah as an integral continuity of the divine plan, sent to a freed, newly consecrated nation to prevent them from repeating the mistakes and the arrogance of the former generations. It is a testament to Allah's enduring mercy, which consistently follows the act of divine justice. This segment effectively and seamlessly bridges the historical gap between the prophetic story of Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, and the message now being delivered to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, leading directly into the unique and powerful proof of the Qur'an's authenticity. The divine source. Not a witness, at the Mount Kanzel Aman. Surah Al-Qasas, the stories. Chapter 28, verse 44. And you were not present on the western side of the mount when we gave the command to Moses? And you were not among those who were witnessing. This verse initiates the crucial epistemological proof of the Qur'an's authenticity. And the Prophet Muhammad's peace be upon him veracity. The address shifts directly and intimately to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who is narrating the precise private details of Prophet Musa's peace be upon him. Divine commission at Mount Tur. The statement is deceptively simple, but devastatingly powerful in its implication. And you were not present on the western side of the mount when we gave the command to Moses. The sheer specificity of the location, the western side of the Mount Janab al-Gurb, is intended to demonstrate the minute, authoritative detail of the account contained within the Qur'an. This event was profoundly private and witnessed only by Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, himself. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who lived thousands of years later, hundreds of miles away in a different cultural milieu, and who was famously known to be unlettered or untaught by the people of the book, could have only acquired this precise, intimate, and location-specific information from one single source, Allah himself. The final phrase hammers home this fact and eliminates any possibility of human sourcing. And you were not among those who were witnessing. This completely eliminates the possibility of the prophet having been an unacknowledged companion or an eavesdropper. Clear, vivid, and detailed narration of events that occurred in absolute secrecy and across a vast temporal and geographical distance is the most compelling proof that the Qur'an is a direct verbatim revelation from the Lord of the worlds. The prophet's non-presence is his ultimate credential, confirming that the information he delivers is pure, unadulterated IM that fundamentally transcends all forms of human historical research, memory, or capacity. The divine source, not a witness at Midian or later generations, Kanz al-Aman, Qur'an, Surah Al-Qasas, the stories. Chapter 28, verse 45. But we have created generations, so a long time passed upon them. And you were not present among the people of Midian, reciting our verses to them, but we are the one who sends the messengers. This final verse extends the same irrefutable logical proof to encompass the entire span of history, from Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, addressing the entire context of the story's setting. First, the verse addresses the enormous gap in time. But we have created generations. So a long time passed upon them. The phrase acknowledges the vast gulf of time between the two prophets, making any possible transmission of precise detail through human memory, fragmented oral traditions, or incomplete scrolls highly improbable, if not rationally impossible. The knowledge presented in the Qur'an is too fresh, too detailed, and too confident to be derived from such ancient fading sources. The depth of the Elam confirms its eternity. Second, it eliminates the possibility of obtaining information from another major location of the story. And you were not present among the people of Midian, reciting our verses to them. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, did not live in Midian. He did not travel there to gather folklore or historical accounts from the descendants of those who knew Prophet Musa, peace be upon him. The precise, intricate story of the contract, the daughters, and the righteous father-all narrated in the preceding verses is detailed with an authority that defies the prophet's non-attendance. He could not have been there reciting our verses to them, because that was not his mission, which was to receive and convey the final message to the world. The ultimate conclusion is inevitable and majestic, but we are the one who sends the messengers. This final, definitive statement asserts Allah's sovereign authorship over the entire process of revelation, history, and salvation. Allah is the one who sent Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, and he is the one who is now sending Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, with the Qur'an. The divine knowledge of the past is simply a seamless extension of the divine command of the present. The messengers may change, the communities may pass away, and millennia may elapse, but the author of the story remains one and the same, the all-knowing A.R. Rahman and A.R. Rahim, proving that the Qur'an is a direct living transmission of Elam from the divine presence, a pure, unblemished source of truth for the final generation. Hadith, the profound theological argument presented in these verses, which proves the divine origin of the Qur'an through the Prophet Muhammad's peace be upon him. Non-presence. At key historical events, it aligns perfectly with the emphasis in the teachings of the Prophet on the unique, unmediated source of his knowledge. The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, taught, Jibreel, peace be upon him, would come to me in the form of a man. He would talk to me, and I would learn what he said. Sahih al-Bukhari, 335. This hadith, when placed in the context of verses 44 and 45, confirms the direct, unmediated mechanism of this non-historical knowledge. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was not present on the western side of the mount, nor was he in Midian gathering accounts. His sole, unblemished source of information for these precise historical narratives was direct, angelic transmission from Allah through Jibreel, peace be upon him. The detailed accounts of the Pharaoh's fate and the commission of Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, serve as the undeniable historical evidence that validates the claim of the Hadith that the Prophet's knowledge came from a realm beyond human history, memory, or reading. The ultimate proof of the Qur'an's truth lies in the fact that its narrator could not have known these stories except by the direct mercy, power, and precise ilm of Allah. Let us now supplicate, drawing from the profound lessons of these verses, asking Allah to grant us a deeper understanding and to guide our every step. O Allah, Most High, Most Exalted, we humbly seek your protection from following any leaders who invite towards the fire. And grant us the discernment and wisdom to recognize true guidance, even when presented by those who appear humble. Purify our hearts from the grievous spiritual sickness of haughtiness and arrogance, and ensure that our names are never associated with the curse of tyranny in opposition to your messengers. Grant us the grace to be among those who are never despised on the day of resurrection, but rather welcomed into the endless expanse of your boundless mercy. Make the Qur'an for us a source of profound enlightenment, clear and detailed guidance, and restorative mercy, allowing us to accept counsel and purify our souls from all spiritual disease and doubt. Strengthen our faith with the undeniable proofs of your revelation, allowing us to affirm with absolute certainty that the Qur'an is a direct transmission of your eternal ilm, regardless of the historical impossibility of its human sourcing. We testify that you are the one who sends the messengers, sustaining the chain of truth across all generations and millennia, through the magnificent light and authority of your names, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. May Allah illuminate your heart and mind with the light of this divine ilm. May He make your channel a beacon of guidance for all who seek spiritual clarity and truth. May your efforts be a source of immense reward, and may you be granted the highest stations of paradise. May the peace and blessings of Allah always be upon you and your loved ones. May He grant you unwavering steadfastness on the path of truth, and may your work be a testament to His magnificent names, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Amin, a handsome British Muslim with beard, wearing black-yellow Sufi essence baseball cap, praying wide-open hands in the foreground, integrated into this scene.